Hey guys, it's Mrs. Bigliotti. So we're going to add to our donut art. So remember, your whole paper is nice and filled in with your drawings. So if you have empty spots, add a couple little donut edges there that you can see. So I'm going to start to add some kind of like toppings, extra details to my donut. So I'm going to start with this plain one right here, and I'm actually going to give it some icing drizzle. So I'm going to just make a kind of skinny, almost like a Z line. So almost like I made a Z or like a really skinny M. And I'm going to put a little curve right at the edge and just follow my icing. So my icing is like, has a little bit of has some thickness to it. It's not just a line. And then I'm just going to put a little curve at the end here. So I've got some icing on my cupcake, or my donut rather. And then I'm going to add just a wavy line, wiggle line, kind of at the edge as if it has frosting kind of underneath the squiggle of icing. And almost like the frosting is falling over the edges. All right, so for this donut, I'm gonna start off and I'm gonna give it some frosting. So I'm just gonna make kind of go around my donut hole circle and make kind of a wavy line. And just go around, kind of just like right here, just, because it's icing, it's not perfect. And then do the same thing on the inside of my donut. And then I'm going to add some sprinkles. So I'm just making those as if they're little tiny rectangles. And just filling in that donut. Okay, so I just filled in my frosting on my donut. All right, so now I am going to work on this donut right here, and I am going to give it some of another kind of just like stripes across it, like it's got icing that's like dripped kind of across it. And I'm just making stripes. I'm just making kind of straight lines and then making another one right next to it. Not totally perfectly even, because it's icing. Icing wouldn't be totally perfect. All right, so there's my donut with stripes on it. And I think I'm just going to put frosting on this one. And we're just going to leave that guy frosted. So I'm just making a wiggle line, just tracing that outside edge and then getting underneath. So you want to make sure you get all the little spots that are underneath your donuts too. I'm just going to turn my paper around so it's easier for me to work with and work over on this one. And I'm actually going to do kind of a, like a zigzag. So I'm going to do just kind of some zigzags, almost like a star around here. So it's not perfect. And then I'm just going to go around that. So almost as if it's like an icing design. Big loops. There we go. And then maybe we'll do some little dots. Just like the fancy donut, right? It's the fancy one that everybody sort of looks at and is like, ooh, that one looks really good. All right, so we're going to do some more frosting. And I think this one, I'll put some round sprinkles on. So kind of just filling in. And we can get really creative with our coloring too. So don't think that, just because you'd be like, ooh, I can get some crazy colors in here. All right, so I'm going to put some kind of, let's see, I'm going to do stripes. Maybe I'll do my stripes this way because I already have stripes going this way. So I'm going to do some kind of big icing stripes. And I'm just making these kind of like real thick lines. And you guys don't have to do what I do, but these are just kind of ideas that you could do for this. So we got some thick stripes. I just didn't want two sets of stripes going in the same direction. I thought that would have been a little bit funny, so I didn't want to do that. And maybe this one has like candies on it, like bright colored, like M&Ms or something, or chocolates. So we'll do some dots, and I'm going to do just a little frosting line those very edges. Okay, let's see. And then we'll do kind of, maybe this one has like square candies on it. Right? Okay. And then, I just gotta get that guy right there in the corner. So I'm just turning it around so it's easier for me to draw. And I think I'm just gonna do some like icing squibbles, just like that. It kind of looks interesting. All right, so next what you're gonna do, I've added all kind of my fun details. You're gonna get a marker, so you can either use a Sharpie like this or a Sharpie like this. You can use a pen as long as it is black, or you can even use a black crayon. So any one of these things would work, okay? I am going to use a Sharpie. I think I'm gonna go with this one for now. So, and I'm going to outline all of my donuts here. And my ones that go off the page, I just have another piece of paper, so I don't want to write on my table. So I'm just going to trace all of my donut lines. And then trace the details that I added as well. Get my little squiggle line in there, squiggle line, and squiggle line. Okay. And I'm going to do this one next, so I could do the one behind it. I just want to get this one done. And I'm just going slow to get all of my shapes in. Right? It's not a race. I'll trace my icing, and then I want to get my icing over here. And you see how everything just starts to pop once you trace that. And I'm going to trace my sprinkles. Okay, so I got my sprinkles done on this one. I'm going to get this guy right here. These two were on top, so I wanted to trace those first, then get to this one. So a little inside, and then get my frosting squiggles. I almost called them squibbles. So I'm going to do this one next. So I'm trying to get all the ones that are on like top, like on the top of the stack, done first. It's a little easier. So whatever donuts are on your top, you want to trace those first. And then I'm going to trace my stripes that I have for my All right, so I'm going to move to this donut kind of behind here. And then put the stripes on this guy. And notice my stripes are not perfectly straight. If you want to make wiggly stripes, you can make wiggly stripes. If you want to make straight stripes, you can make straight stripes. Up to you. My feeling is they're donuts, so they're probably not totally perfect. Get my little candy squares here, almost like jumbo sprinkles. And make sure, guys, your shapes are all closed. I had one little shape I had to go back and close here so that you get a nice, instead of leaving it open. So I'm just going to flip this around so I can get the other nice little trick, guys. Don't forget my trick. Flip your art around if you're having a hard time tracing things or drawing because it's getting a little awkward. Flip your art around. Makes it easier. Okay, my little circles here, my little circle sprinkles. And I'm making them big enough so I can color the inside. So don't make them so tiny that you can't color the inside of it. Let me get my donut here. And then, so I'm just going to finish up tracing. All right, so I finished tracing my donuts. So I am going to erase now. So I'm going to grab my eraser and I'm going to very carefully, so I'm just working real small with my eraser. I'm not trying to get my whole paper done, just one little section at a time. So I want you guys to, I'm shaking my table. I want you guys to work on erasing all those pencil lines because we want, it makes our drawings just a little neater. Everything's nice and crisp and clean. Okay, so I'm just gonna work on just erasing all of my pencil lines. And I, again, just like when I trace, I turn my paper around. When I get near the edge, I go in one direction because if I come back, sometimes my paper will wrinkle. And I hold my paper down so that it doesn't move around on me. So if I'm going up, I hold it at the bottom like this. And if I'm going down, I hold it at the top so it doesn't, because it'll want to move around on you a little bit. So I'm just going along that edge, again, in one direction. I can go in two directions because I'm not close to the edge anymore. And got all my eraser bits on my paper. So again, one direction over here. So I'm going to pick one donut to do. So I think I'm going to do my striped one over here. So I'm just going to wipe off my paper. Oh, and it just sailed across the room. No kidding, guys. My paper literally, I dropped it and it went whoosh, just sailed across the room. Kind of silly. All right. So I'm going to work on, actually, I think I'm going to work on this one instead of this one. I'm going to do this one. So you guys are going to pick one donut, possibly two, but not all of them, because I want to show you some kind of cool coloring. So I am going to do a chocolate drizzle on my donut, but I'm going to make the frosting a really cool, fun purple. So I'm actually going to get two shades of purple. So I've got chocolate for my drizzle, a dark purple and a light purple for my frosting, and kind of a tan donut-y color. I might even get a lighter. This might be more of a donut-y color. If you do not know, get a separate piece of paper. What colors you want to use, get a separate piece of paper and test them. Oh, that's a good donut-y color. That is tan. And that one's actually a good donut-y color too. Either one of those would be fine. And then I have kind of this dark chocolate color for my chocolate drizzle. And I have my two purples for my frosting. Okay, so I have a dark purple and light purple. And this is just my separate piece of paper that was underneath my donut. Okay, so I'm going to work on this one. So I'm going to start with my little edges of donut that you can see. This is my donut. This is the frosting. This is kind of my drizzle. So again, I'm going to color along the edge to create a border. Okay. Right. Really, and I'm just going, black line means stop. And then I'm going to color small and press hard to get my kind of the donut. Now, just making the outline here. I fill that little section in, and then I'm going to go work on this little section right here. Okay, so I've got my sort of the donut part of my donut. I'm going to get my chocolate drizzle. I'm going to fill that in. Right. I think I'm going to do some like white chocolate drizzle too. So I think I'll use like or maybe a pink drizzle. Like, you know, they have white chocolate, but it's colored different colors. It's like pink or blue. But anything with chocolate on it tends to be my favorite. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if anybody else out there likes chocolate. All right. It's got my little drizzle right there. Okay. And I'm going to show you this cool kind of technique to get kind of almost like a ombre or rainbow frosting. So, or blended, I should say blended frosting. So, because we're going to blend two different colors together. So you're going to start with your darker color, and this will work with any color. So if you don't want to use purple, you can use green or orange or blue or yellow, red. It doesn't really matter. Just as long as you have a dark version and a lighter version of that color. So I'm starting with coloring my border with the darker color. Okay, and this happens to be plum. This is plum. I always like to tell you guys what color I use in case you wonder. All right. So I got my outline. So then I'm going to take my crayon and I'm going to color with my plum crayon towards the middle. So I'm going to color towards the middle. So in this case, I'm coloring up and down, but as I work around, I'll end up coloring sideways and kind of up and down. So I'm just coloring towards the middle, and I'm just kind of going to go real slow right here, just around my drizzle. And then I'm going to color. Now I'm coloring up and down, and then kind of sideways, and now totally sideways. Sorry, my hand's in the way, guys. All right. It's a little bit of a weird angle for me here. All right, so now I'm just coloring, going back to coloring up and down now. All right, so I've got kind of a dark edge with a little bit lighter. And then I'm going to take my lighter color, which happens to be orchid. And I'm going to use that. And as I go towards the middle, I'm going to color lighter. So you can see, now I'm just being really careful around my chocolate drizzle. You can see how these two colors, I'm going to take my orchid color a little bit over my dark plum color. And you can see how these two colors blend together, and it makes a very cool kind of effect with the frosting. So I've got like this dark kind of edge and then lighter in the middle. And it does look really cool. Kind of gives you that. And again, you guys, if you don't like purple, you can do it with another color. So I'm just going to put my border in here so I could color my orchid color. Now, if you wanted to darken that edge up, I can get an even darker purple. That's blue. That's not purple. Okay, I can get this purple, which is a violet purple, which is a little darker, and go along that edge if I wanted to make that a little bit darker. So see, I'm just making it, going over what I already, and I can make that a little darker. And you see, it adds a little bit of shadow to my frosting and makes it look a little extra special there, which is kind of cool. All right, so I'm going to color one more donut. So I'm just going to color this one. So you guys know I did a border and then the middle. Okay, guys, so I colored my donut color. And I'm going to use that same trick. I'm going to show you guys with these two colors right here. I'm going to do a blue. My donuts are super fancy. I'm just going to test them on a separate sheet of paper just so I know I like them. And I might go a little darker. Oh, you know what? I don't love those two together. So I think I'm going to change. See, I think I know what colors I want to use. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to use those colors. Those are not colors that I want to use. So, you know, one of those things. Let's see. That's purple. It's blue. Ooh, that'll look cool together. So I think I'll do these two together. All right. So this is Cerulean and Robin's Egg. All right. So I'm going to take the darker. So I got two. I'm going to take the darker one on the edge and just draw my border. So I'm just kind of drawing like a thick line with short little strokes. You can see I'm just getting as close to that line as possible and just making a thicker line. I'm going to do the same thing along this edge right into here. And then, ooh, I got a little bit in here. So I'm going to take my eraser. And believe it or not, you can erase a little bit of crayon if you have an eraser. It will leave a little bit of a stain, but you can color over it. So I'm just going to use that right there. So then I'm going to take my dark blue and color towards the middle of my donut. And I'm just pressing a little bit lighter. I'm not pressing as hard. You guys can see I made my border and now I'm just making it a little thicker, but slightly lighter. So the lighter you press, the lighter the color. The harder you press, the darker the color. Okay. It's got my kind of little border here. And then I'm going to take my Robin's Egg blue, which is the lighter version, and kind of go around this middle here just to get that in there. And then I'm going to start to color the white space. And you'll notice I'm taking this lighter blue over top of the darker blue. So I'm layering my colors. So one color is going on top of the other. So these are very, very fancy donuts. Blue frosting, purple frosting, very fancy. Super fancy donuts. All right. And see, let's blend that in there. So it looks kind of cool. I've got like this kind of blended frosting. That's super fancy. All right, guys. So you can pick 1 or 2 donuts to color, but only do those. And then next week, I'll show you some more coloring techniques for our beautiful donut art. So remember, only 1 or 2 donuts, okay? Not all of them. All right, because I want to show you more cool tricks. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Bye.